Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, madam, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma aftah alaina ni'mataka wa anshur alaina min khazaini rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Ya Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Okay, today madam, actually I have prepared a few slides, which give an overview about what I'm doing on my research for PLG598. Okay, the title for my research is A Qualitative Study of Primary School Teachers' Effective Practices to Enhance English Home-Based E-Learning. So this is the topic, or the research topic of my PLG598. So I would like to ask for your supervision and also advice on this topic, and also the content that I would like to present. Okay, first I would like to start from why the rationale. Because we learn from the 598 sharing session with Dr. Zohir to identify important aspects in research. So in identifying this important aspect in this research, I have to state my rationale and why I choose this topic, and I have to analyze why as well, and also the problem statement. And then apart from that, we were told to decide the objective of what we are looking for in this research. And also I'm going also to because I am now reading a few literatures, not to say a few, but sorts of literatures, but still need to process. But I really need your guidance to give opinion on either what I am reading now is going to be suitable for this research. And also lastly, we are going to discuss on methodology of this research. Okay, doctor, so this is the background studies of my research. Basically, we have four background studies of why I'm choosing this topic. The first one is because the school closure. So the pandemic of COVID-19 has actually forced our school to be closed, for the school closure. So what happened is the teachers are being forced to conduct online learning, or otherwise the students are being left behind. Okay, this is also related on the third point of the background study. But apart from that, we also identify from the reading that teachers are having difficulties. This is what we learned in also 518, that whatever coming up into the teachers' professionalism. Okay, so and also I can recall, apart from my reading in curriculum, the institution is among the slowest to change. Although technology change rapidly, but the institution, including of the teacher, are among the slowest to. This is based on Einstein 2016. Okay, are among the slowest to change. So teachers are not trained to handle online training, because all this while we have been conducting the face-to-face learning. So however, due to school closure, so teachers have to conduct online learning. So these are among the leading problem lah, to say. And then again, if teachers are keep feeling that they are in difficulties without finding the solution, the students are being put at stake. If learning does not occur, or we do not proceed with learning, so the left up rates has been reported in the especially to those students who are entering different level of education, for example from kindergarten to primary, from primary to secondary. So those students who are going to the interchanging part, the interchange of the level of education are having difficulties. So we are looking for effective practices in online learning. What kind of learning? That learning from and there are teachers who are effectively conduct their online learning or the e-learning through virtual platform and so on, and we are looking forward to analyzing and understanding how they make their online learning become successful. And then my focus is, move myself to here. So my focus would be primarily this research focused on effective for primary school English teachers. And we are looking why? Because we are looking for what are the effective teaching methods that English primary school teachers have to prepare themselves. It's simply said that whenever we encounter problem, we are always looking for tips on how to encounter this and that. So this is sort of that, but however being done in the research term. Okay, so online learning differ to then face-to-face due to social presence. Okay? As we discussed before, that teachers are not well trained and not everybody are well literate in terms of online learning and also how to use the tools and so on. So we are looking also on the suitable approaches or the appropriate approaches, so that we want students to learn from the e-learning courses that teachers design. And what kind of activities that teachers could design, not only on how the learning should look like, but also what kind of activities that teachers should look like. So the knowledge that we conduct during the learning, the e-learning, could be transferred into real-world practice, especially when we are teaching language. We want them to acquire the language so that they can produce the language. That is what we expect for the student, even in real-world teaching. Okay, and also the skills that teachers need to learn. What are the skills that teachers need to learn? Are there a new set of skills like what Simon said in 2011 about the theory of connectivism and how we put things in virtual, and then because this era of technology is rapidly changing. So how whatever we know today might not be relevant for tomorrow. Okay, so we have to learn new things. Otherwise, the theory of connectivism says if we are failed to cope ourselves with that changes, so we cannot make a full use of technology. And also the roles of teachers, as what we know from we have like the teachers assessment for teachers from SKPMG to in whatever condition we have to conduct our learning, and we want to know what are the roles of teachers as compared to again face-to-face learning or physical learning happening in physical classroom. We know our roles are being facilitated and so on, but in terms of digital learning or e-learning, where or what are the roles of the teacher? Are they being the knowledge supplier? Are they being the initiator in what ways and so on? And lastly, we are looking at what WHO said about sustainable education through online learning or e-learning. Otherwise, our students will be left behind. So in terms of their learning. So what are the problems there? The problems that I have been identified before conducting this research, if the teachers' practices, we've seen, this is what I read as well, and also I get it. That's what we can observe through the social media, where parent complaints and so on. So the teachers' practices, and apart from that, we also have student difficulties. Just ignore the earth is the third planet from the sun. Just would like to remove that word, but suddenly it appeared to be there. And then the e-learning problem with teachers' practices also related on how we organize our learning. What kind of instruction that we give to our students? What kind of e-learning interface that we want to design? Because it is not only about giving a content at one time, but also we actually need to design a course like what we higher level of education students are experiencing now, but this one is for the primary school students, because they are having other difficulties. If we look on the right side, where there are time constrained devices and access, they are might be sharing devices with their parents, with their brothers and sisters, and so on. And also, when we look back at teachers' practice, at the method, approaches, and skill, we want that the practice in terms of method, approaches, and skill to give us to enhance students' learning. Okay? We want them to and in order for them to learn, they have to participate. And when we want to assess them that they are learning or not, it comes from quality responses. And I will justify this from the reading from Mayer and Clark, which are among the prominent figures, prominent scholar in terms of e-learning, and also non-technical issues on student side, which their attitude, maybe readiness or their literacy, they are having difficulty or don't know how to handle and how to handle the gadget, how to where to click and so on. But there is also if we look at the theory of at the digital native and also digital immigrant, so there shouldn't be a problem for them. But what we cannot deny that some students are having difficulty in that, and also they are having difficulty dealing with the design. Okay, with the design of the e-learning. Due to what? Due to it is rooted based on the teachers' practices. If teachers, we wouldn't put a judge that they are wrong, but maybe they are not yet to know on which practice is the best. So students, if they don't know, they haven't discovered yet the best way, although it is not perfect, to suit with their students' need. So student will have difficulty to go through to that online learning. So here is among the biggest problem lah. Okay, the biggest problem in this kind of research related to e-learning, where Mayer and Clark said most researchers of Mayer and Clark, I'm referring to Mayer and Clark 2016, said most researchers on online or e-learning course designers, they design courses which are not consistent on how people learn. Okay, they are getting fancied by the cutting edge technology, which are, take for example, the features of Facebook is very interesting, the features of quizzes, the features of whatsoever, Web 2.0, or maybe social media, even the Telegram provide you with lots of function and so on. So they adapt technology by not too much to say to force people to learn, to go through the learning process. We design, for example, I want to teach grammar. So I design through Telegram. I write down whatever the instruction and so on. So I ask my student to learn through Telegram because I found that Telegram is interesting, which is considered as wrong in the view of Clark and year 2016, because actually we teachers as the course designer have to adapt on how people learn to technology, not the other way around. So failing to understand how people learn in designing a technology-assisted learning will just become a waste in energy, in time, in effort, and so on. While which is what most e-learning course designers do, because we are too much focused, like I said, on cutting-edge technology. And indeed, what Mayer and Clark said, we ignore the role of the learners when we design the course. When we are at the classroom, we consider the role. What are the roles? Maybe their role in learning for that certain teaching period. We want them to become active participants. So we conduct discussion and so on. But when we design e-learning, we forgot all of those theory. Because one, we are getting fancy by the e-learning, also the cutting edge technology. Either it could be in apps, it could be in Web 2.0 and so on. Because too much noise, like said by Mayer and Clark. Too much noise, too much colorful, too much graphic, too much audio, too much visual, and so on. So these are among the biggest problems. So the variables, so the variable okay, in this research is first is the practices of the teachers lah. We want to look either their teaching method through online lah, the instruction, the approaches. We want to know what kind of teaching method for online learning is suitable for online learning for primary school students, for you to conduct your English lesson. And then what are the approaches, what kind of activity that is suitable for them. And Clark and Mayer said these are all being simplified in the name of architecture, on how we design and so on. Instruction, they also mentioned about instruction and also practices. I heavily referred on. It's not nice to put my face in here. It seems like I'm okay. Okay. And then again, architect. When we say about what Clark and Mayer said, they also touch on instruction principle and also the practices, which will result into student participation and quality of responses. And why I choose the other, it's like when we are doing quasi-experimental, the effect of this on this and that, but this is we are doing qualitative study. So why I still consider these two as variable, we will look after this. Okay. So this is actually what happened in learning, in understanding learning. I heavily refer to Mayer and Clark because they are not only provide us about what e-learning, but also they make people understand, or the readers or the scholar make learners understand what is actually learning. So learning happens. Okay, we need I need doctor, not you need. Okay, I need to understand as a teacher that learning happens when it involves a change. Okay, a change in what? A change in what learners know, what they don't know, from what they don't know to what they know. So that is why we consider. That is where we consider learning is happening there, and it is caused. Learning is caused, and then that change is caused by learners experience. So from Mayor and Clark lah. I'm not a scholar, so I have to quote them lah. Kan, follow what they not follow, but process what they try to deliver. So again, learning is not happening if students are not participating. If students are not participating in the course design, in the e-learning course design, then learning will not happen. I'm not teaching you. I'm sharing. Okay. And then, how do we know that someone's knowledge has changed? By we observe their changes in behavior. Behavior. What kind of behavior? What kind that we want to observe? And in this research, because there is no other thing that we could. It's not just like what Clark and Mayer said. There are e-learning courses that just involve in behavior of clicking the button, the next button, tick, 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 tick. We cannot observe them. We cannot make sure that they are learning, because first we are not in front of them. They are at their own home and so on. So what we can observe changes in behavior when we expect from them responses. So we expect quality responses, and that way we know that they learn something from our e-learning courses. Okay, so the importance of the study, okay, for the institution, for the teachers, for the students, they are all among the propagating, not to say I mean, from what I studied, I read, so the institution could benefit. The school closure could happen at any time again, not only due to pandemic, due to disease and so on, but also due to haze, maybe weather, or maybe natural disasters and so on. So instead of we are re-evaluating the I mean, if this happens again, then teachers are well prepared this time. Okay? So we don't have to wait anymore. Then we might be for the ministry to re-evaluate the relevance of taking the mobile phones to school, even in face-to-face teaching practice, because we know that, like, again, although this might go to blended learning, but we know that there are elements or the benefit that e-learning could offer to assist us in our daily, in our physical practice of teaching. So for teachers, we have to be well prepared. So if we read this research, if we understand this research, if we contribute to the data of the research, so next time we will be well prepared to know what to do and how to do, how to design e-courses. So we may want to conduct blended learning in classroom, where I said just now, or maybe for extra classes. We don't have to come to school again at night and so on. So parents have to send their children to school and then pick them up again. So we don't have everything happen at school. Even the tuition now are being promoted to online, and students are taking tuitions. Even if we are going back to our normal, now we have new norm, norma baru and so on. And then not only effective, we are not looking for but effective. We might have a lot of effort to put inside what we call as an effective e-learning course design, but also being efficient. Okay, because we are having the capability to access to other teachers' resources. If we don't have the guts, sorry to say this, to produce our own content, to produce our own video and so on, might be we could use like resources from others. It's just like the practice that we invite other teachers into our classroom. can you watch how this teacher show, and then I'll explain on what you don't understand, or I explain first, you don't understand, okay, you watch to this teacher. That is the same practice. And also for students who are the main clients in education, okay, they will benefit the most for surely, and they learn not only how to learn using online tools and so on, but also might be not might be lah sorry lah for that word might be kan, they learn how to practice autonomous learning if we teachers show them the correct way on how to use technology. Okay, so what we know in this research field, that social media, how social media affects student learning. Those are researches that could be found online. Too many of them. So many of research doing on social media, doing on instant messaging, on how it could enhance students' learning, achievement, motivation, and also we have the how Web 2.0 promotes learning and so on, promotes interaction and active learning, and also we know that e-learning related, other e-learning related things like associate which could enhance learning or could enhance or improve students' learning. Okay, doctor, bear with me. We still have a lot more to go. Okay, so what we know, I actually almost 6, but if I don't present this to you, I think I will get lost, and I need your advice, I need your guidance. So what we know already what types of media. What we know from what Clark and Mayer said, that types of media actually, because we all can read books, papers, journals, and so on, and I'm referring to what Clark and Mayer said. We know that types of media doesn't determine the effectiveness of learning actually. There is no research until today successfully show the superiority of one over another, like what we discussed in our first meeting, like your advice. You said like that way, how do I show that WhatsApp enhanced learning? Is the teachers. Yes, thank you for that advice. I'm really thankful for that. And then we know that the impression of equal for the all media that we have equal for all media. Either we are using WhatsApp, we are using face-to-face and so on, the learning still happens. So that means equal for all media means, but because of pandemic, we all know that from what I read from Clark and Mayo, that doesn't matter if we conduct our face-to-face, if we conduct online learning, students still learn, but how they learn? But because of pandemic, and which is resulted into school closure, so we are forced. All this while we know that online learning could make effective, could take effect on students' learning, but we have choice. We still have choice to conduct face-to-face instead of e-learning. But due to school closure, has been 29 minutes. So bear with me, please. This pandemic forced us to use online learning, otherwise, or e-learning. Otherwise, our students are not learning. Like what USM said, if we cannot attend to Polytechnic Seberang Perai, then you have to go to online learning and so on. Okay, and the quality of learning rely on online instruction. How teachers give instruction. So, if teachers give understandable instruction in their e-learning courses, so that way student will learn, and that way student will learn with quality. Otherwise, they will just follow the steps without having to understand what actually they are doing. Okay. And there is no significant difference from Clark and Mayer between face-to-face and online learning. But what makes learning either in face-to-face or e-learning become significant is either it is well designed or well implemented. Okay. If we conduct online learning, again back to the issue that Web 2.0 and other researchers are doing on WhatsApp and so on. Okay, if the course is not well designed, then not carefully planned for e-learning, then students will still learn nothing. They will just stand in front of their computers or laptop or even phone, watching our video and so on, but they are getting nothing. And for surely, the versatility and the interactivity of the e-learning is among the promise lah. Although we have to put at the back of our mind there is pitfall in e-learning. For it has lack of social presence. But how do we encounter this lack of social presence so that this not become a major problem in students' learning process? So what we don't know, how an effective learning should look like for school children. Many researches being conducted for higher level of education. We know that again the maturity, why so for primary students, how effective e-learning should look like. We want to ask those effective teachers are being effective designing their e-learning courses. What are other measures for teachers like me should take into consideration based on our audience, which are primary school students, and why is it important? This is based on what I read from Clark and Mayer lah. We have to set our purpose or goal of e-learning. So kenapa? Why is it important to assess the purpose or goal of learning? So this kind of learning is suitable for what? Near transfer, far transfer, medium transfer, medium to far. How to plan and implement a well-designed and well-delivered. Again, this is back to what preparation and so on that teachers have to take into consideration, and what kind of instruction that teachers need to use to make sure students understand. If students understand, they can perform the task. And when they perform the task, means that they are learning. And when they perform the task, they send us their response, and then their response. That way we can assess that they are learning because of the quality response. What are the sets of skills? Other tips like I said just now, tools, teaching method, application that could help teachers to plan. The 2WD, well designed, well delivered e-learning. Okay, so actually this is also what we don't know. We want to explore based on those questions, the principles, how the students engage in e-learning. If you think that this is too much for me to explore, just let me know. Okay, how e-learning works on primary students. Again, the architecture. This is just sort of like repetition lah, but then how do we learn? How do students learn from that experience? Because learning is about to say what the learning punya definition that Mayer and Clark said, changes in I know what I I think you understand what I mean lah kan, changes and because of that experience, changes in knowledge. Okay, thank you. Okay, changes in knowledge. And what actually to look for to ensure that learning occur in real world practice of e-learning lah. Okay. And Clark and Mayet said, who have been doing research for almost 30 years in e-learning, no significant difference in terms of learning outcome between e-learning and physical face-to-face classroom. It's the matter of well designed and well delivered. So it's the teachers understanding on the best practice to design e-learning, especially if we are still struggling in our face-to-face teaching, more in e-learning kan. So teachers are good in physical classroom setting. This is most teachers lah. I'm not being generalized by saying that teachers are not so on, but teachers are good in physical classroom setting, but what do they need to take into visual setting, which is e-learning? And current researchers don't talk much about actually on how e-learning improves student learning, not impede student learning. They actually focus on tools, apps, but like what we said just now, or WhatsApp improve student grammar. But how WhatsApp improves student grammar? In English, how Telegram improves student formality in writing? I read an article. I don't forget his name. Don't worry, I will refer to Mendeley, my personalized database and so on. Okay. And then, in simple words, okay, I would like to seek for why they are, because we know there are teachers who succeeded in their learning. So the primary question here, what are their practices in conducting e-learning? And the secondary question, how do their practice enhance their students' learning? First, what? We want to know what. Why you are so successful? Why I'm not successful in getting 100% participation and quality responses from my students? And how do you do that? To fill the gap of what I said, I don't know where to put my face. Yalah, we are unaware of those elements. I just first and second seems to be repeated, but this is in terms of filling the gap. So we are unaware of what we do, what we are already in our e-learning practice, of what effective teachers. So this research would like to highlight them, show to other teachers, this is what effective teachers do, not only effective but also efficient for you. And then they don't describe the criteria of successful e-learning rather than discussing on its result. Most research discuss on results rather than the criteria. And also when we look at the green side is what this research intended to fill the gap. Otherwise, we said if we very few of us focus on the architecture, on how visual, audio can support learning, how much visual, how much text and so on. We will get the data from the teacher and then analyze based on what Mayer and Clark said. Okay. So otherwise, it might just be another form of learning. And only if we don't do this research, only excellent teachers with great effort will succeed. So other teachers, they are still in searching of how do I conduct. Okay. It can also happen that with great effort, time spent, money invested of productive teachers who are active in finding ways and so on, will be wasted if they are lack of knowledge about this architecture and principle of e-learning. If they don't know, they are productive, they are very active, they want to their students to learn, but because they don't know how it should look like, and then their energies are being invested of money and so on, are being just a waste lah, time. And we are going to explain, show that in simple words, demonstrate what is actually effective learning and how to produce them. And for teachers who are not having the ability, or might not be brave enough to deal with the camera and so on, for the environment of e-learning, at least we have this knowledge. When we have resources, then we can assess, okay, this is a good e-learning, I can use this in my classroom for my students to learn. So these are among the limitations of this study. It happens only to primary school teachers, because only primary school students are having difficulty to follow e-learning courses and so on. And English teacher, because other subject I encounter different problem. I designed a few questions, semi-structured question, and I tried to ask to you can see it. Okay. And I tried to ask to a few teachers which are not from English teachers. So among the early feedback that I received was, I don't have problem because my students enjoy science. Kan, while we are English teachers, we are still facing with the problem, especially when we are giving instruction, students don't understand, they straight away don't follow even our explanation, our process of delivering the knowledge also use the English medium. So if the students don't understand, if they don't feel interested and so on, as part effort as compared to science, they enjoy because they love to watch the animated process, the science process being put into animated, and this thing also being mentioned in Clark and Mayer. If we put our animated so that it becomes something that we can see in front of our eyes, especially of the abstract process that we couldn't see from our naked eyes, so it becomes more understandable for the student. Okay, and then the limitation about the student difficulties we will not explore in terms of the difficulties very much, as teachers actually act as the designers for the e-learning courses. And also we might also when we are doing research, when we are doing interview and so on, we might encounter other factor of the successful of either e-learning is going to be successful or not, such as motivation, perception, readiness, achievement, learner differentiation, and other technical issues and so on from teachers and student sides and also etc. We are not going to discuss that in depth. Okay, we just need to take note on them. And then we will also not compare, because e-learning has two forms, two types, which is synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is being happen in real time, and also asynchronous, we will not compare them, although Clark and Mayer compare them, this one, but each one of them has their own advantages and disadvantages. So will not compare them in that. And teachers recalling capability, when we are gathering the data, we do online or maybe online interview, because we want to record them. There might be approaches or whatever technique or whatever tips that they wouldn't recall because of our human recalling capability, or method or design. We might left them out from the data, so that is far from the researcher reach out of my control. Okay, just try to initiate the question so that they think and recall also. However, to delimitate this, basically we will distribute the interview question prior to the live interview session. And these are among the operational definition that I use in my research, such as e-learning, online learning, define what is e-learning, define instant messaging, social media, what are social media that we have, application, what is the application, what kind of application, what is synchronous and asynchronous, okay, working memory, what is working memory, because these are all among the elements that we are going to work with to consider, okay, because e-learning that's what if I am following the concept of true e-learning as proposed by Mayer and Clark, this is actually not good e-learning lah, because you are not going to learn, you are going to comment, to guide. So putting a lot of words in along with the, again, if we analyze this process, this recording kan, they are orang kata, how do we say that, they are visual which are not related to like interface kan. Interface visual are not related with the content. Interface ni how the appearance of the e-learning. So that is the word and so on with the log. Okay, so but this is because I would like to present to get comment and so on, so I would not miss the wording. And also what are groups and channels and so on if they use. So for the literature review, okay, please comment on this. I think I need to, and I already read a few on active and passive learning, because these are among the theory, the underlying theory that we have behind e-learning. Active and passive learners, what are the concept of learning actually, and then if we are going into a more specific discussion, we are discussing on cognitive theory of multimedia learning. What are the process that happen here when we are spending e-courses and so on, and the effect of online learning, or maybe it could be either tools, apps, etc. Okay, and then effective instructions to use to enhance learning. What kind of instruction that could help other than Clark and Mayer? What kind of instruction? What other research said about instruction, about giving good instruction, and the effectiveness of the students could follow the e-learning, and also maybe on method and approaches to conduct e-learning effectively, about researchers talking about method, talking about approach. And lastly, among of them of the literature review that I need to discuss in my research is about participation and quality responses lah. Justify what is participation, justify what is quality responses, who are saying this about quality responses, and so on. Okay, so this is the design, the methodology of my research based on G et al. 2012. First, the design of the study is case study, because we would like to explore the rich data. One teacher might not use the same approach, the same tools, the same methodology, the same design as other teachers. Might be that this teacher using this teacher using that, and so on. So in terms of sampling, I choose 6 primary English teachers based on purposive sampling for qualitative, for case study. On recommendation, because PPD and JPN, they have the data of which English teachers are conducting their lesson well and so on. And then I also ask, apart from that, for sampling, have to check again with the document lah, to make sure that the teachers being chosen are among the right person for this research to talk about what they know, because we want, like what they said, we want to learn from who, from the right person, because they need to talk about what they know and to share what they practice and so on. Okay, so again, when the data collection would be through interview, because we want them to answer how and why, how they conduct their e-learning and why they choose to do so and so on. That's what my research question discussed. And then the instruments, semi-structured question, giving them prior to the interview session. Yes, I know that researchers might have there is possibility, I forgot in research term what we call that, like they might prepare the answer without, they don't do that, but because of the sheet answer they want to be seen perfect. I'm aware of that possibility, so they want for them to look perfect, so they answer in to look nice lah. This is what G and all said to encounter the I forgot the term already. And also analysis. For the analysis, I really need your guidance, I really need your advice, because from the reading, we take for example one question, how do you give instruction lah? How you give instruction using social media, instant messaging, so that your student are going through or participate and they learn kan. And then by that I identify the keyword. It's going to look like this. For example, like what do you use to design e-learning? They might be they might say a few things like I said, different teachers. So on top of that I put media, so Telegram, participant 2, maybe WhatsApp, Telegram, and TV, YouTube, and so on and so on. And then why? Okay, again the keyword I put there. Easy to access. How design. How YouTube or how those media make your student learn, enhance your student learning. They could see my face. So again, all of these keywords I'm going to analyze based on Mayer and Clark. Because Mayer and Clark said they have 12 principles of successful of how e-learning designers should take note on how voice over visual, for example, not too much text, modality, the modality principle. If we design a course of e-learning, and then we cannot put too much extraneous noise. Disturb. It will disturb them. Too much pictures, too much text, too much video. and for the solution, and that is the way I identify the keyword from the response. Then I will justify based on what we say, Clark and Mayer. Then that way we will able to justify that they are successful because of this. And because Mayer already said, Mayer already provide guidelines, principle and so on. Clark and Mayer already provide guidelines and so on. So that is the way how I am going data analysis. I really need your guidance. I really need your advice. I really need your thoughts on this lah. Kan? Should I change? Where should I change that? Again, another thing that I would like to know, I would like to ask for your guidance is about my research question, because the concern is based on A and on said the question that I designed, is it still answerable and worth for the teachers to answer my question, so that I could catch the data that I want about effective teachers learning, effective teachers practices of English primary school teachers to design e-learning for their students, and to make sure that the student learn e-learning tu, the word e-learning itself as defined by Clark Mayer and so on. Clark and Mayer said how so the definition of e-learning itself is on how knowledge are being stored in digital form, and what are the content of instruction that we put throughout the process. So I really need you to comment on mine, because I have no experience and I really want to learn on how to, so that to capture the good data for this research. And also, if I need to make changes, amendments and so on, please doctor let me know. I would like to thank you for your time spending to watch this lengthy video, almost 1 hour. I make this to be asynchronous, so whenever you have free time, you can watch and pause. I will learn from them. Well lah, kan, you can watch and pause, give comment, take note, playback and so on, whatever that you don't understand. Thank you. I learned so much. I learned a lot. I am among the slow learners in my class. I work slowly. That is why until this date I have to work with the data collection. And for the current update, I already met with the PPD. Yesterday I brought this. Not yesterday lah. Bukan yesterday. Honestly, not yesterday lah. Tutup hasul. No. I'm honest. I mean, early this week, because I have planned this earlier, because they were very busy. I just got a chance to meet the SIST class. So I went to meet her, and then I said all of this idea and so on. And then I said, I want to collect the data, but because Alhamdulillah I've been granted for Guru Cemerlang, so I have to share the finding as what I said for the teachers to be well prepared. So later I have to conduct a workshop for the teachers in Korean district, so that they know what to do, or what skills to learn and so on. From this research, they could help me, and they could even provide e-certificate for the respondents in my research. Alhamdulillah. So please pray for me. Rabbi Yasir wala tu'asir. Please pray for me. I am now need your comment on so that I can. I have tried with a few 2 to 3 teachers already, although they are not in English. They are not English teachers. I tried with them. I could see there are still flaws in my research question, but because I am learning that, I don't know how to say. I don't know. I know there is a flaw, but I don't know where is it. Which part should I take improvement? I know that if I ask them this way, and then I expect them like the first thing is I ask them how do like the science teacher kan. I ask her, cikgu, macam mana cikgu conduct, macam mana cikgu design e-learning? Akak tak ada masalah. Akak mengajar sains, budak-budak suka sains. I was very shocked. What kind of answer I get? It's something different from what I expect. I expect her to first tell me, oh, I designed this way because the student, but I am sure as what I discussed on SIS class, it is not shock sendiri problem. This problem from the from the reading that I made. I read online journal article and so on. These are among the problem. And sadly to say, from the Scopus data, if we are searching for teachers difficulty and so on, there are lack of research. Scopus only provide with 2 to 3 about teacher readiness and so on. And to take from other source of database, I'm quite afraid, because you are not because you are but because of the credibility of the research. So that is a problem as well. Teachers are having difficulties, but papers are not being published. Or even if you think it's me alone who are seeing this as a problem, and I have to change every single thing in this research, you just let me know. Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Jazakallah. I hope only Allah would repay whatever time and effort that you do to guide us. Please pray for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.